Hello everybody and welcome to Marketing for Advisors blog. We're currently going to be doing a series of videos with the legend Bill James. Now if you don't know who Bill James is, Bill James at the age of only 26 was a national sales manager for an insurance company in New Zealand. He was in the industry for 10 years and was able to generate over 200 policies per year. And he did a lot of that through referrals, 90% of his business. He was getting up to 7.7 referrals each week. Now I know you'd all like to have the same success, and we're going to be asking Bill a series of questions and gaining some of his advice. So let me just read my first great question. Asking on behalf of advisors getting into the industry, but not even just them. A lot of advisors struggle to ask for referrals. Bill, can you give us some tips, some thoughts on how that, any ideas you've got around how to better ask for referrals?
Hi Steve, thanks. And yes, of course. It is kind of scary. It's one of those things that very, very few advisors actually do, and it's something you think they naturally would do. But in point of fact, there is a fear factor that goes with this. Maybe they're going to lose their clients, maybe they're going to upset a relationship, maybe they're going to press too hard. And really, if you've got a solid relationship, there is very, very little risk. But the first thing you've got to remember is that you get to choose who you ask. Whenever I talk to people, I go, okay, let's go out and get a referral. They instantly think of the scariest, most ordinary, unlikely person they should ask, because it just pops into their head. There's something about humans that just pulls up bad news. And so I could never ask that person for a referral. Here's the good news. Don't. There's a lot of people say, oh, but if they don't want to give referrals, how do I overcome that? You walk away. At no stage should you actually risk your relationship by asking for a name or two. But the process we've got has proven over the last 8-9 years to produce 105 referrals for every 100 people you ask. So you've got to ask. The thing is, you have control. When you're talking to someone that just scares you so much that you don't want to ask them, the answer is don't ask them. So how do you do this in a way that actually lets you step through this in very easy steps? Now, if I was to ask a room full of advisors, how many of you get referrals, how many of you are recommended, most people in the room will put their hand up and say, yes, I do get recommendations. For every one that you get, shall we say by osmosis, you miss 6 if you don't have a process. So you need to ask, but instantly, because you've been given a recommendation or a referral, those become the first people you talk to. So the number one group that you go and target, go back through your database and go, who has already recommended me to somebody? Because they know how to play this game. They know what they're doing. They've already recommended you. So going back and saying, boy, you haven't got another name, have you? Is the lowest risk place you can start as you're getting practiced at this. From there, go to the people that have been recommended. So in other words, I'm saying, Steve, you're awesome, you need to go and see. So you become the first person that I would recommend I go and talk to. The person that I've recommended to you would be the next person you go and see, because that's how they arrived. And the conversation is very easy. Steve would say, look, Bill's recommended me to you, and it may be that you also want to recommend me on to other people. Can we have that conversation? So at the top of the list, the people who have recommended. At the next step down, the people who have been recommended. Step 3, the third layer, are those people who you are so solid in your relationship that it's really going to be very, very hard to damage it. And if you go in there and you go, can you think of anybody that might also want to? And they go, look, I don't do that. You go, okay, not a problem. And no damage is done. The stone bounces off the armor-plated side of the relationship you have. So just to run through that again, the people that have recommended you, number 1. The people who have been recommended, number 2. The people who you have incredibly strong relationships with and you get on anyway, number 3, because it's very hard to cook those relationships. Once you've done that, then you are so practiced at it, you can start to become braver and go towards those people that you may not have gone to first. But when you want to climb a mountain, you start by climbing a molehill, then a hill. then a Mount Eden, and you work your way up until eventually you have enough confidence and enough ability in your technique to then go and try for those harder recommendations. And if you do that, you find it falls into place very, very quickly.
That's awesome, Bill. That makes a lot of sense. And I think you're quite right. A lot of advisors do try and think of it as a whole. So they think of their whole client base, 200, 300 people, and they just get scared of hurting that relationship by asking that simple question, don't they? It's amazing.
Yep, and if you've got 300, 400 clients, certainly 20 of them have already recommended you. So there's your starting target. If you converted half the people that were recommended, there's the next 10. If you then got another 10 or 20 or 30 that you would happily have a beer or a wine with and you consider them friends, there's another 30. So there's 60 people that you can practice on before you have to start going towards the scary ones. And I'd certainly suggest you start in that order. It's proven to be very effective.
Oh, fantastic. No, that's really helpful, Bill. Now, that's given some really clear points and steps because, again, that's the scariest thing is starting from scratch. People just don't know what to do. So, no, fantastic. Thank you, Bill. So this is the first in our series, everybody. We're going to be doing more of these, so keep in track. Look out for the next posts in the coming weeks, and you're going to find the next awesome tip from Bill James on how to get more referrals. Thank you, Bill.
No problem.